By the time Baruch Spinoza was 23 years old, his philosophies had already ruffled a lot of feathers in the Portuguese Jewish community of Amsterdam. He claimed God and nature were the same thing.
He began to question everything.
Everything, creation, and our Creator.
That's a clip from Tariq Ali's Spinoza, the Apostle of Reason. On July 27, 1656, the Jewish leaders in Amsterdam issued a cherem on Spinoza, a total exclusion from the Jewish community.
The matter has been carefully examined by the ruling scholars and councils. They consent to the banishment forever of Baruch de Spinoza from the nation of Israel.
The Jewish leaders wrote, "Cursed be he by day, and cursed be he by night. Cursed be he when he lies down, and cursed be he when he rises up. Cursed be he when he goes out, and cursed be he when he comes in." You get the picture.
Yeah, he really pissed somebody off.
That's Stephen Nadler, a philosophy professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and a Spinoza expert.
This is by far the harshest cherem ever issued by that community in this period. There were dozens of cherems issued by the Amsterdam community between 1630 and 1680. And they're for a variety of offenses, taking a book out of the library without permission, for insulting the rabbis, for gambling, for lewd behavior in the streets. But usually the cherem was lifted after a short period of time when the offender made an apology and paid a fine.
Spinoza never apologized. At least there's no documentation of it. Even still, people have tried really hard to get Spinoza reintegrated into Judaism.
There was an instance in 1927 when Joseph Klausner, the historian at Hebrew University, stood on a hilltop and proclaimed the ban was lifted. And of course, he had no authority to do that, didn't mean anything. And then in 1953, David Ben-Gurion, former prime minister of Israel, insisted that the ban should be lifted. But the only authority who could lift the ban would be the leadership of the Amsterdam Portuguese community that issued the ban in the first place.
And they were not going to do that.
But then a couple of years ago, a member of the Portuguese congregation wanted the issue raised again.
That was in 2012. The congregation put together an advisory committee of Spinoza experts to weigh in, including Stephen Nadler. Nadler's takeaway was, what's the point? Spinoza is long dead. It would just be a symbolic move.
The only reason why you would want to lift the cherem is because it would be a kind of public relations boon, kind of proclaiming to the world, Spinoza is one of ours and we welcome him back with open arms.
The 2012 effort to get Spinoza de-excommunicated didn't work, and Nadler thinks that's a good thing. He says reintegrating Spinoza into Judaism would undermine Spinoza's philosophies.
Spinoza no longer saw himself as Jewish, but he didn't see himself as Christian or Muslim or anything. He was an individual who, like all individuals, are part of nature.
Ultimately, we don't know how Spinoza felt about his excommunication because there's no documentation on that. But Nadler thinks Spinoza couldn't have cared less.
For him to be welcomed back into this or that particular religious community, for him would be a meaningless thing. Maybe a betrayal of what Spinoza stands for. He doesn't want to be a member of this club that wants him as a member.
Baruch Spinoza died in The Hague at age 44. He was making a living grinding optical lenses at the time, and the dust from the glass exacerbated an earlier lung illness. In the 20-plus years after his excommunication, Spinoza continued to write philosophical works about the nature of reality, politics, and of course, religion. For Philosophy Talk, I'm Shuka Kalantari.